Ben Johnson provides promising injury updates on both Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon, saying that he expects them to return this season. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, Caleb Williams earning the title of Iceman and Ben Johnson giving Caleb Williams further praise. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Ben Johnson provided a really good updates in regards to Kyler Gordon and Jaylon Johnson. In regards to Jaylon, he said this: I just saw Jaylon in the weight room. He's excited to be where he is right now, and he's hopeful he'll be able to be out on the practice field here in the near future. Keep in mind, Jaylon Johnson's basically missed the entirety of the season for the most part with that groin injury that he suffered in the offseason. He let it heal. He came back, and then he re-aggravated it and had to get surgery. So there you go there. In regards to Kyler Gordon as well, he said this in regards to Kyler Gordon: I can't tell you exactly when, but hopefully in the near future in regards to a return. Now, keep in mind, he did say that as far as them, he does expect both these guys to be getting back before the end of the season, which is going to be a huge pickup for the Chicago Bears. You look at how C.J. Gardner-Johnson has performed for the Bears so far in that slot to replace Kyler Gordon. Imagine bringing Kyler Gordon and Jaylon Johnson back for the Chicago Bears. You know, if they come back with 4-5 games left in the season, for the Bears to help contribute to that playoff push that the Bears are trying to get into, to get those guys who are contending for the playoff spot back, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson kind of free him up to do a little bit more things, moving Tyreek Stevenson back to the cornerback 2 position where he can do more things that naturally come to him as well. I tell you what, that makes me immediately excited once again about what this cornerback crew can be for the Chicago Bears on the majority of the season. So, you know, let's see what's going to happen here. The Bears have been struggling in the secondary. You get both these guys back. It's going to take a little bit of a ramp up for them to get back into it. But, you know, I think that things are looking pretty good for it. Kyler Gordon is eligible to return in Week 12 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaylon Johnson can return at any point in time once he's cleared medically and ready to go. This could be the exact boost in the arm that the Chicago Bears defense needs, as well as the team overall, to go on this playoff push for this Bears team to try to make a postseason. Again, not saying that it's necessarily guaranteed, right? But if you look at it, let's just say they both come back. Let's say beginning of December. First game in December against Green Bay, December 7th. 2 days after my birthday. That will leave us to have them back for the Green Bay, Cleveland, the second Green Bay game, San Francisco, and against Detroit. That's the last 5 games for the Chicago Bears that you can get these guys back in, and you expect the playoff positioning to be a fierce battle at that point in time as well. So this could be exactly what this Bears team needs to give themselves, again, like I said, a little shot in the arm heading into the postseason push. And we'll see what that could be. The Bears defense needs help. The secondary hasn't necessarily performed as consistently as what we needed to. And you look at now having 2 guys like Kyler Gordon and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which you can put either one of them at. Like, keep in mind, there are going to be times where coming into the season, there were plans for like Kyler Gordon to line up as linebacker sometimes, right? To do that sometimes. Now imagine being able to do that and still leaving C.J. Gardner-Johnson to be there at the nickel as well, and you can even blitz him from the spot. Like, it can open up a lot for what this team can do schematically as far as what Ben Johnson likes to do with this team as well, and that is what I'm excited about. So, and the excitement level just rises about what this team can continue to be schematically with Dennis Allen and getting these 2 guys back, which, again, adds that other dynamic to this Bears team. A Bears team that already leads the league in takeaways. You add some stuff like that can also help with the run defense support and getting to the quarterback as well. These are all shaping up to be things that could very well help this Bears team go in that last push that they're going to need to really try to make a serious run at the postseason for the first time in a handful of years. Let's hope that we can get it done, because if we do, man, that's going to be an exciting time period. So great updates from Ben Johnson in regards to that. And we're gonna see what this team continues to do with that. Let me know down below though, how excited are you about the potential returns from Kyler Gordon and Jaylon Johnson getting back to this team. Don't forget, TJ Edwards can still make his return at some point between the end of the season too. Not to say we're never going to see the full power of what this defense could have been based off the preseason, but we're going to get to see hopefully a really close facsimile to that with what we've done so far and see how that helps the Bears defense against these better teams that we're going to be facing here towards that last run on the season. But let me know what you guys feel on all of that down below. With that said, I want to talk a little bit about Caleb Williams. And, not just because of my domination over ECH Bears fan, but also because, there's been a lot of negative talk around Caleb. And some of it is earned. I want to be clear. Criticism is always earned. But Caleb continues to grow in a lot of places that matter the most. Now, PFF grades aren't the end-all, be-all. I always say that. Take that with what the eye test and the stats and go and look at your own advanced analytics as well. But PFF wanted to grade some things about Caleb and talk about things outside of just the box score and what Caleb Williams is doing with leading this team to victory, talking about that moniker of him being the Iceman, as people so to say, with ice in his veins in the fourth quarter. But with that said, Caleb Williams has been the highest graded quarterback over the past 2 weeks, according to Pro Football Focus, only having a grade of 91.1 overall against the Bengals and the Giants, right? In that span over those 2 games, he's thrown for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions, 116 yards rushing, and 1 touchdown on the ground as well. He's led 2 game-winning drives over that time, and he's been on the money. Also, one of the things that he's at as well, Caleb Williams, why he hasn't gotten that 70% completion percentage that Ben Johnson challenged him to get on the season, when his team has trailed, he's had a 72.3 adjusted completion percentage with 1,306 yards and 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 9 games. What does all that mean? That means that Caleb Williams is showing and proving that, at least in the fourth quarter, he can be very well trusted. He can be trusted throughout of that too, but when the game's on the line, you could trust Caleb Williams to deliver. And that's just something that, again, like I said in yesterday's episode, I get that Caleb misses some of the gimmies, but I trust that you can fix that more than to fix the big playmaking thing. If that was a thing where you just had a quarterback that couldn't make big plays, but they were just making all the gimmies. But Caleb is going to have to do that, and that's going to really extend his game. That's going to make this offense more potent, all those type of things. But he's shown so much growth under a real head coach in Ben Johnson that it's clear that the future is bright for Caleb Williams. Now, just because the future is bright doesn't mean you're going to maximize on all that potential, and that's what Caleb's job is going to have to be here over the next stretch of things, is continue to show that he can grow and that potential can be legitimate for him and something that we can build off on in building this team. Make no mistake about that. But Caleb is doing what he can as it stands right now. And when you talk about it as well, one of the aspects that Caleb Williams has that Ben Johnson has not had before is that he gives a new element as far as the plays that he's able to make with his legs. Ben Johnson said this about Caleb. No, I'm thinking I'm the best coach in America. When he asked about Caleb Williams and his ability to avoid pass rush, he said this. I mean, that's a hell of a play call, wasn't it? That's beauty behind what we have going right now as a coaching staff. We try to get the primary receiver open as much as we can. Sometimes the defense doesn't cooperate with you, and so Caleb knows that if he can get 1 or 2, if he can get 1 to 2, or if he is feeling the pressure, he can make us right, and we can still have a good place. So I think it's a cool thing where we are right now. The phrase "make us right," right? We're talking about that, and his ability for Caleb Williams to make plays outside of the structure. We talked about this early in the season, how Ben Johnson was going to have to learn, and one of the things that Ben Johnson was going to have to adjust to with Caleb being his quarterback is that he's not always going to be as technically sound. Ben Johnson wants a technically sound offense that does things the right way every single time. And one of the things that Ben had to adjust with was that realize that Caleb, for him to be the best version of himself, he's going to have to make plays sometimes outside of the framework of the offense. And Ben Johnson was going to have to learn to be a little bit comfortable with that. And so now Caleb Williams doing that, and that synergy between him and Ben Johnson as far as understanding, hey, we're not going to be as technically sound as I want, and you're going to have the freedom to do more things as far as creatively, but you got to deliver on those things. I think that that 1-2 between those two guys, and that understanding that Caleb may not always be as technically sound as you want him to be, but he's going to be able to make some plays that some of those technical sound quarterbacks that he's had in Goff, for example, weren't able to make if the play breaks down. And that's what we're seeing with this. And that is the sweet spot for a quarterback and their head coach to be able to get into that symmetry one another and then build off of that. And if that continues for the team, that's going to be some of the stuff. Again, I like to always say the special sauce, right? there's always things that it's hard to quantify with certain teams. It's hard to look at it, and the stat sheet isn't always going to be the best example of that, but that's something that we're seeing. And when you talk about the resiliency of the Chicago Bears team in the fourth quarter, that's one of the things that you're talking about. You look at the narrow wins that the Bears have had to come out with. Blocking a field goal against the Raiders, kicking a game-winning field goal against the Commanders, the fourth quarter comebacks against the Bengals and the Giants, right? That's something that you can't really plan for that. But when you trust what you have there, that's great. And Ben Johnson said that as well. I think the best thing about us winning right now is that we come back and we can coach them hard and we'll tell the truth and they know it. I mean, they're professionals. They all know we're winning, but it isn't necessarily the style or the fashion that we want to hang our hat on long term. I think we're in a really good spot with our locker room right now. Our coaching staff is doing a tremendous job. I have a lot of confidence in really all three phases and how we're coaching the game right now. And, I mean, there is something to be said about a team that just finds a way. Like, yes, you want to eventually be a team that's so sound in the way that your execution goes that you don't have to rely on those magical moments, so to say, right? And those become less and less over time. But where it stands right now, this is the team that you have, and they're finding ways to win within that. Now, it's a job as a coaching staff to figure out how do we take this, build off of that, and get this into a place where we are more consistent in the areas that we need to be consistent in, while still having this fallback that we can go on, that we can still get wins when the game breaks down. And that's going to be the thing, especially as the competition is getting more fierce for the Chicago Bears, that is really going to be telling about how consistent this team can do that. And we'll see. We'll see. Overall, I hope that we get there. Overall, I hope that we continue to just keep being able to win at enough rate, because I tell you what, if the Bears can, and I'm not going to say it's all doom and gloom if the Bears don't make a postseason, but if the Bears can make a postseason this season, do you know what that really does for the growth of this team and getting to that next level? It does a whole lot for this team in getting to that you're able to get there above or ahead, a little bit ahead of schedule. And let's hope that the Bears can do that, man. Ben Johnson talked about his first, halfway through his first season as a head coach. And he said this: I think the easy answer for that is that we want a team that will fight for 60 minutes. It's a group that believes that we're doing as a coaching staff. They believe in what we have in the locker room. There's a belief that comes through each and every week. They understand that we're always in these games. We have a resilient group. I think that's step number one. And that's great. Like, yeah, you want a little bit more control as things go on and to be able to control that. Every head coach wants that, right? But what you're doing and what we're seeing this Bears team learn how to do, it's still find ways to win outside of structure. And if you do that, those glimpses can become a little bit more consistent, and then you're hopefully in a spot to win more football games more consistently, and then who knows what you're going to be able to do after that point. So let's see the Bears continue to grow within this. I know that it's not the most peaceful, especially on game day where the Bears give us cardiac arrest, but I think this team is really building pretty well so far, and let's see how much further we can take it. Now, I like to always look at the injury report as it comes through. Yesterday, we had a number of veterans that didn't practice, but again, it's always veteran days. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, TJ Edwards, Grady Jarrett, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Tyreek Stevenson, and Jahade Walker all did not participate in practice yesterday. You have Cole Kmet, Dominique Robinson, DeAndre Swift as limited participants, and then Josh Blackwell and Ruben Hippolyte as full participants. The Ruben Hippolyte is an important one, I think, too. If we're able to get that speed of Ruben Hippolyte back there on the football field for this team, I think that goes a long way in helping this team maybe be a little bit better as a pass rush over the last half of the season. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. I always kind of look at more Thursday and Friday as when you really want to start getting concerned about what you're seeing on the injury report. I know today's Thursday, and, we'll have an episode later on today. If anything kind of hugely glaring comes out on the injury report, we'll talk about it. But overall, I think this team's in a pretty good spot right now. I think that a lot of these veterans, with getting some guys back from injury, having, some of these guys like a Ruben Hippolyte, if he can get back on the football field, Josh Blackwell, while not amazing or anything, he's a guy that knows the system, and we know how he can perform within the system. Things may start looking up a little bit for the Chicago Bears. So let's hope that continues, and we just keep making the steady and right progression, because this game against Minnesota is going to be big. It's going to be a big game against Minnesota within your division. And while Minnesota doesn't necessarily have the best record in the division, it's these type of games that are important, and these type of games where the Bears haven't always fared well against, right? And we know that Brian Flores is going to be bringing it. He's going to try to attack Caleb, get Caleb out of his rhythm early, and we'll see what the Bears can do with that. The Vikings, who are 4-5 on the season, technically the last team in the division, they don't want to stay there, and they definitely don't want to be there beneath the Chicago Bears. So they're going to be coming in trying to put in that work, and the question then becomes about how can the Bears overcome that? But we actually got a voicemail on that. We're going to go ahead and play that now. This one's from Ant.
What up, fellas? Ant, Army vet. Calling in about the Vikings game coming up. Few thoughts, especially with Brian Flores and his blitz and the way he blitzes and stuff. I'm not too much worried about the passing game when it comes to the blitz because Caleb he's proven like he's really good against the blitz. When it comes to passing, the one thing I'll be worried about more so is the routes development and what type of routes that the receiver's going to be running when it comes to those blitzes, because with Caleb knowing how to scramble and get away from the blitz, a lot of the route schemes and stuff that Ben Johnson likes to dial up takes a little bit of time. So hopefully he dials that back a little bit, give Caleb a few quick throws and back the defense off a little bit. Either that or our run game, since it's starting to pick up and it's been really good, our run game punched him in the mouth real quick and backed him up a little bit. I think this game should have a heavy dose of either Manunga doing what he do and smacking people in the face, or, a couple of tosses or whatnot to get DeAndre Swift out on the edges and stuff to, scheme them up a little bit to slow down that blitz just a little bit, because we know Brian Flores ain't going to stop his blitzing at all. My major thing that I'm more concerned with is Noah Sewell tackling, because the last few games he ain't been tackling too well, but DA's scheming or his defensive plan to limit J.J. McCarthy from running, because we all know he can get out there, he can move around, and he can, he can run when he needs to. My biggest thing is we've been hit twice now when it came to mobile quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley and Jackson Dart, they both got us because they can move around and stuff. We weren't ready for a mobile quarterback. T.J. Edwards being out concerned, because if T.J. Edwards was in there spying on him, I think T.J. could hang with J.J. McCarthy and the speed of the quarterback getting elusive, and he can be a spy for him. But I'm more concerned with J.J. McCarthy. I know D.A. is a smart coach, so he probably see that J.J. can move and how Jackson Dart just, hit us in the mouth. I'm hoping D.A., do what he do, because we all know Stefanski, that's a good head coach. You can't knock anything about him being a good head coach. He knows how to watch film and knows how to hit a team with their weak points. That's how he got Darnold to become that $100 million quarterback. So, my thing, I would have, like I said, T.J. Edwards fine, but if T.J. not playing, what is another good plan for us to keep J.J. McCarthy from running around? I just want to know what you guys think. But as always, shout down up, bear down. Y'all have a good one.
All right, I think Caleb attacking the blitz, which he's been really good at this season, will be a major thing for this team to be able to have some success against the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday, right? Like Caleb's ability to identify that blitz and then create outside the blitz, like we talked about, once a play does break down, is going to be tantamount to anything the Bears can do in this game. And so Caleb's production in that and how the wide receivers and stuff give him support, how the offensive line supports him in that and stands up to the blitz, that's one of the most important things in this game coming up. And we'll see how the Bears are able to do within that, because if they can't, it can get ugly, and it can get ugly real quick for this Bears team against a defense that is going to blitz almost every, what are they? I think 60% blitz or something like that. Like, they blitz at a ridiculous rate, and the way that they're going to throw that at Caleb Williams to try to throw him off his game is going to be, seeing how he maneuvers in that is going to be really important. As far as Noah Sewell, I get it. He has had some rough games coming back from injury. I'm not too really worried about Noah Sewell, though. I think we've seen that he can step up when it matters the most. We've seen that he can make some big plays when it comes down to it. He stood out there at the beginning of the season, really good for T.J. Edwards, who was out with injury. So I'm going to give a little bit more trust. He was coming back from injury. And even then, I didn't see tackling being a problem for him. So I'm just going to assume that it's not going to be a major problem for him for the remainder of the season. But you are right to be concerned about it. But I think Noah Sewell is going to continue to be really solid for this Bears team. And I'm overall not too worried about it. And that could come back to blow up in my face. But as it stands right now, I think Noah Sewell is going to be fine. Now, as far as the Bears defense not handling mobile quarterbacks, you're definitely on to something. There is something to be said about how this team that already kind of struggles with the run game and the pass rush, and that combination of those two things for a mobile quarterback coming back to you is a little bit difficult for the Bears to navigate. And they had their struggles with that. And there are going to be a number of mobile quarterbacks they're going to face, especially if they want to get into the postseason. So watching how Dennis Allen adjusts to that is going to be really important. Like you said, I do trust Dennis Allen more than I don't to get things right, because he's just a very creative mind. And I think as we get players back healthy, We're going to have guys that can help support that a little bit more as well. And I think we're going to be fine in that long term. But the concern is still there, and it is still valid. We just got to see how it's going to work out with this Bears team. There are a lot of tests coming up for this team as we go towards the end of the season. The part that we have to ask ourselves is, how much can the Bears really overcome? And that's a question that can only be told on the football field. But between Faith and Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, Dennis Allen, the defense, getting veterans back, I think that this team is going to have a really solid finish to the season. And we just got to see if that's going to put the Bears in the postseason for the first time in a long while. And Bears fans will really enjoy that. But let me know what you guys think on all of that down below. Make sure you're following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. But that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.